So here we have a pretty weird game. I'm calling it The Great Escape. Look at this, a very aggressive player. Anyone that brings their queen out this early is very aggressive. You've got to try and drive back these pieces from your half of the board. Look. Preparatory work there. He's looking for weak pawns to grab. He's just trying to snap something up, hoping my bishop will move. He'll grab the knight pawn. But we chase him back. We still haven't quite managed to castle though, because his knights are now on the prowl. And he actually sacks a knight there, but it's not really a sack. It kind of is, but it isn't. Because now he's just doing all this nasty, annoying stuff. It's just driving me nuts. Queen fork here.
Check.
But he's got a check that he can escape with, and now I can't castle. Bishop still under attack, has to move it. Attack his knight. Knight goes here, protected by the bishop. All pretty clever stuff. So he's got the 3 minor pieces for the 4 that I've got. And he's got 2 rooks for the 2 that I've got. He's got a couple of extra pawns. He's eaten pawns up, but he has sacrificed that knight. So I'm just trying to save that pawn by pushing it up to where it's guarded. And now I'm just moving this knight into a position where I could give a check, which he might have to get rid of that bishop in order to prevent his king from not being able to castle. So that's an option, but I don't really see where that can go beyond that, because he's still quite tight, and I'm stuck on one side here. And we get this kind of laser. Annoying lasers. Just seems to be able to see these kind of opportunities. So now it's knight, knight, bishop, bishop, rook for knight, bishop, rook, rook. Interesting balance of power. I would say that given that he's now got passed pawns there, the game is definitely in white's favour. But he hasn't castled, and the bishop pair is much more powerful, and the knight pair is much more powerful. Knights can protect each other, bishops can control all the squares. He's only got 1 bishop and 1 knight. But he's got the rook pair, they can link. My queen is going to end up being tasked with looking after my rook. Luckily, I've got the bishop to look after it as well at the moment. And now he comes down here, and again, he's very active and very agile with this knight.
Check.
And here we come now with a nice little check. One of those ones you don't expect. Got to take it. So, okay, I've lost my light squared bishop, which theoretically is my weak bishop. Although, to be honest, I wish I had it sitting in front of my king right now to protect the pawn. But all in all, this is looking a little bit more balanced than it did a minute ago, but I still think my position is very weak. And this comes down. Now, fortunately, I realised at the last moment, of course, we do have the option of
Impassioned.
Indeed we do. And after this, I've got a pawn up here, which becomes a surprisingly difficult problem for white. I mean, if you've got nothing else, if you're strangled in your position, you've got no attacks, you've literally got nothing else, well, see what pawns you've got. See what pawns you've got, because that could be the extra little detail, the extra little arrow in the side of your enemy that helps you to tip the balance of power. Now watch what happens next. He starts to advance pawns. He just wants to batter down my position and get his king rook, of course, onto me as well at some point. But now I've got the knights here, both protected by this pawn, this single pawn. Well, that's a bit weak in itself because you can't protect them both with one pawn. Obviously, when you recapture one of them, you immediately take the pawn guard off the other. So that is something to be watched. Now we've got another of these bloody bishop skewers. The second time running. Can you believe he got me with it twice? So I decided I would just take it, because I liked where my knights were. It's either that or lose the rook. And I wasn't entirely convinced that the queen was the piece that was going to win me this game, if any win was possible. Let's see what happens. He grabs his teddy. I save the rook. Let's just have a look. I've got rook. He's got rook. He's got rook and queen. I've got knight, knight, and bishop. So knight, knight, and bishop, we're looking at about 10 points of value. Queen and rook, we're looking at about 15. So he's 5 points over value, plus 4 extra pawns. So actually he's a whole queen up. He is a queen up in whole value. And he does that thing. He takes the bloody pawn that's protecting the pair of knights. Well, luckily, the knights are able to survive this and be near the bishop and have a checking square that matches the queening square. So a lot of stars are aligning here. And also, it's not actually that easy for him to give checkmate here, funnily enough, because of that awkward bishop sitting there. Now this is really bad, because isn't it funny how quick the last couple of squares go when a pawn is advancing? The last 3 squares just seem to slip through your fingers. You know, the first 3 squares, nothing. Second 3 squares, oh, where have they gone? And suddenly they're on the 7th rank. Because if you think about it, pawns start off on square number 2. And to get to 7, that's only 5 moves. So you've got the chessboard, it's 8 squares long, but it's actually only 5 moves to get. And in fact, if you've moved on a double move, 4 moves potentially to get to that 7th rank. So do remember, pawns move quicker than you think. So here we are. And now suddenly I've got a little hope in hell.
Check.
So, and he knows it. Or he wouldn't be doing these early checks, because this isn't a properly set up checkmate. Anyone can see this is not a properly set up checkmate. A properly set up checkmate would involve him taking my black bishop with one of his rooks, but he can't do that because he's worried about the queen. My queen. And now threaten his queen.
Check.
He's got to keep checking me, or else I'm just going to capture his rook with queening. And I go here.
Check.
And he's got to keep checking me. And I go here. Well, has he got any more checks left? Not really, so he has to try and save this rook. Well, I've got
check.
A check here.
Check.
And he moves stupidly to a square, although I don't know, could he move to a different square?
Check.
Because of my other knight? Possibly he couldn't. No, I mean, he could have moved to the D1 square, but then I could have checked him with my rook. It's the only other square he could have gone to.
Check.
And now he does come onto here. Don't want to use the rook because, look, I've got a knight there that's going to get taken by him otherwise. But look what we get.
Check.
Family fork. Family fork. And in this position, white instantly resigned. How quickly the tables were turned. How quickly these knights turned the tables. Not only am I already winning, but I'm winning without even getting that queen, which I'm going to get. I'm going to get it, but I'm winning without it. That's got to be one of the most amazing turnarounds I've ever seen. So I'm calling this game The Great Escape, because it is a phenomenal turnaround, instant resignation here from a beautiful family fork. What better way to finish a game? And gets me up to, thankfully, 1948. I was at 2000, but I've had a huge run of losing games. Finally won one, but didn't just win one, but turned the tables. And I think that's a good moment to just say, okay, that's enough chess for today. So catch you all next time on Chess Voices. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to buy me a coffee, it's Starchild. and we will see you all again on Chess Voices, the most relaxing chess channel on YouTube.